Hi, Merry Christmas. It is the season and I have my tree up and I thought I'd record one last coffee talk before we all disappear on our holidays. Watch this whenever you will. It's not particularly Christmas themed. I'm not going to start singing show tunes or anything like that, or Christmas carols. But this is something I'd wanted to do for a little while, but it takes somehow a little bit of planning. You see the whiteboard behind me that has been in all of my videos. I really enjoy having a whiteboard by my desk. If you don't have one, I recommend it because it's just somehow that much more satisfying to check something off by wiping it off the whiteboard than it is by ticking a little box in the Reminders app. But let's use it for graphical assistance for this video. So if we draw a classic 2x2 grid, the same 2x2 quadrant that consultants have used since the dawn of time. But there's one particular iteration of this which has been made famous by Donald Rumsfeld. Yes, that Donald Rumsfeld. Whatever else you might think of what he's done, he certainly popularized one particular concept, which is the idea of what became known as the Rumsfeld quadrant. So you start with known knowns. These are the things that you know you know. You've learned something, you've acquired a piece of information, you are aware of that, and you are aware that you are aware of that piece of information. So you can factor it into your planning. Then there are the known unknowns. This is what you're trying to find out through investigation, research, deep thought, whatever it might be, but you know that that is what you are going after in whatever exercise you're conducting. You also have unknown knowns. These are things which are sort of intrinsic. You're not even aware of these things. You know them, but you don't know that you know them. You're breathing, you're walking, you are executing these instinctive activities, and you also have that sort of framework at the intellectual level. Frameworks that you're not even aware that you're relying on, but are foundational to everything else. The thing that trips people up is often the unknown unknowns. This is where it gets a little bit philosophical, but the idea is that these are the things that you don't even know that you don't know. You don't even think to ask the question as you would with the known unknowns. And so when you encounter them, they're a complete surprise. They're outside of your frame of reference, and they can really cause you problems. And that's where Donald Rumsfeld first coined this quadrant. Now, if we apply this framework to AI, now AIs have a completely different informational model than we humans do, but some of the categories can be interesting, especially in the contrast to how we think about information and how an AI, and a large language model in particular, will process this information. So known knowns, they're the easiest ones for humans, some of the hardest for AIs. The models do not work on information in that sense. They're probabilistic. And so it's very hard to say what is a known known for a large language model. You usually have to go outside with some external framework like retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, that can supply the known knowns to the large language model. The known unknowns, well, these are supplied externally. This is the prompt that you're giving the device, so that comes from the outside. You're asking it to go and retrieve some information, but again, because it doesn't have known knowns, you might have trouble in the sense that it will hallucinate, it will confabulate, it will give you something that looks like information but may or may not be related to truth, ground truth. Unknown knowns, these are the emergent information, the data, the input data that is in the AI, is in the model, in the training data that we do not have conscious, direct, explicit access to. but is nevertheless in there and is informing the results. And that's how you may eventually get those confabulations, those hallucinations. But the unknown unknowns, when we're interacting with LLMs, this is actually what we're really after. The unknown unknowns are the patterns in the data that we humans had not seen, that we'd not been able to query in the database or find through analytical models, that the AI can surface for us with its very different way of putting information together. So by combining the human AI prompt engineer, the operator of the system, and the particular way of going through data that these large language models have, plus potentially an external scaffold such as retrieval augmented generation with a vector database backing it, you can really get something interesting. But you have to take into consideration the intrinsic model of both how we humans think about data and how the AI will structure its approach to information, because they're different, but the difference, the complementary ways in which we operate, are exactly what give the value of this approach. What's sometimes called the centaur approach, where the human is riding the powerful machine that the large language model is, in order to achieve more than the human could alone. But anyway, that is what I wanted to leave you with. My coffee is now brewed, so I'm going to pour that, try to get through the last few tasks, because today is the last day before the Christmas holidays. I wish you compliments of the season, whatever your particular celebration is, and I look forward to talking to you again in 2026. Happy New Year.